What's going on, Flix Talkers? Welcome to a movie review. Yeah, I can't say welcome back really to a movie review because I haven't done a review in such a long time for a new movie. If you guys are following my channel here on Flix Talk, you guys know I do a lot of new trailer reactions, but also older movie reactions where I react to a movie in full, chop it down, and then throw it on the channel. That's what most of you guys know me for. But yesteryear, I used to do a lot of movie reviews, but there's been something lately, man, where I just have really been feeling lackluster about going back to the movie theater. So it was just a twist of fate when my wife's friend asked last night at a Christmas party if we were going to see Godzilla -1 this weekend, to which I replied, I was planning to, I'm not really sure yet. And she said, us and a group of friends are going tomorrow, you guys want to go? So I took this opportunity, because it's usually just her and I, or just by myself, to watch these movies in the theater, but to go as a group I thought would be a very fun experience, especially with a group of Godzilla fans. Now, I had reacted to this trailer recently when it did drop online, and I thought it looked fantastic. I was eventually definitely going to see it, but I'm so glad that I actually went to the movie theater and saw it in a pretty packed movie theater. I will just say that. So we had people that were of my age demographic, younger, older. There was some children in the audience. It was very interesting to see the dynamic of age group, especially for an international film that was like 99% subtitles. There was one part where you had an American speaking over an intercom or something, but we're talking about a full subtitled movie. And the reason why I'm talking about that is because Americans in general hate to watch subtitle movies sometimes. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about a majority of movie watchers. So before we get into my movie review for Godzilla -1, make sure to hit that big thumbs up, guys, to support the channel. Consider subscribing today, where I'm going to start doing more movie reviews like this. All right, so hit that bell notification. Let's get into it. Also, before I continue, this will be a non-spoiler review, all right? So I'm going to try my best to kind of just allude to some of the things that I liked and some of the things that I possibly disliked for this movie. All right, now starting off with me as a Godzilla lover. All right, so I'm going to say this. I do love Godzilla. I do love King Kong. We recently just got the Kong Godzilla, the new Empire trailer, and oh my God. I'll leave it down in the description if you guys want to see my thoughts. But we're taking it back to Toho. We're taking it back to Japan, guys. We're talking about Godzilla in its rawest form before it became a American sensation. I will say America has Godzilla fever, but I will also say this, walking out of this theater, I definitely got some vibes that were not from American films that I've experienced in this monsterverse. So all that being said, even though once again I said I'm a Godzilla lover, I have not seen every single old school Godzilla film, so don't crucify me if I get some things wrong. Once again, this is upon first viewing of this film. So I really do love that we got thrown into a post-World War II setting around 1945, 1946, and a couple of the years that follow. We're also introduced to a couple of characters along the way, and forgive me for butchering these names because I butcher American names, god dang it. So we're introduced to Shikishima, who is a character that's not like your typical American character. And once again, I am going to keep doing the comparison with international film compared to US films, because by the time the credits rolled, I could definitely feel the substance compared to something that has a formulaic and predictable outcome of a modern US film. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we had talked about this when we walked out of the movie theater with the group. I was like, if America made this film, they would have to throw the funny guy in there, the unnecessary quirky scientist, the this person, the that girl, the this, you know, they would want to hit and check mark box all those things that they feel need to be in cinema for us today when they really don't. And this was a character that we're not usually used to, especially in a war film. Usually in a war film, we're introduced to these very, very strong characters that are willing to just risk it all to save the lives of millions, right? To save and fight for their country. This is the complete opposite guy we're introduced to. And I really appreciated that, because I think even the strongest people can relate to some of the struggles that he went through. He feels like he's not living up to the expectations set upon him from his family or even from his country. He feels very weak and beaten down, and possibly he shouldn't live anymore. There's a lot of deep emotions that are going through his character, as well as other characters he encounters along his journey over the years of the post-war once again. Also, we're introduced introduced to the character of Noriko, who accidentally kind of falls into his life, but it's a beautiful blossoming relationship that they end up having. And then after about 30 minutes, I'm like, is this a Godzilla movie? But I was so appreciative of it because yes, we get spurts of Godzilla in there, but it's interwoven and intertwined with such an awesome dynamic of characters that I was not expecting. And this movie is a bit lengthier. It's clocking in at a little over 2 hours, but it felt very seamless. You know, I was definitely engaged with these characters, the dramatic feels, the action scenes, once again, all of the trials and tribulations that go on with war. Yes, we're talking about creature feature war, but it's also set in post-World War II once again. So there are very real aspects of this thrown into a monster movie. Now, Godzilla. All right. This is why most of us are here. At least this is why I was initially here. That's what I reacted to on the trailer. Just the Godzilla craziness that they show. I mean, you have to show it, right? I mean, that's what's going to get your ass in the seat initially. And the story just kind of builds around Godzilla and why he's attacking. We get somewhat of a vague explanation of why he's attacking, because I think when we enter Godzilla movies, just either the old school ones or the new school Americanized MonsterVerse ones, we never question why. Why is he attacking? Why? What's inside of him in that little head of his? You know, the brain has to be pretty tiny compared to that big old body. But why is he attacking Japan always? So they kind of vaguely hint at that a little bit along the way. You get little nuggets of information and lore, I believe. I mean, that's what the group was kind of telling me that I was with, the Godzilla group that I was with, that there was a little bit, you know, comparison or lore from the originals and whatnot kind of thrown in there. The only thing I really knew about was that blue beam, or the energy blast they call it in the movie, that comes out. By the way, I have to mention, and it's not really a spoiler at all whatsoever, it's just a preference, I really do like the sound effect that comes from Shin Godzilla's energy blast compared to this one, 2023's energy blast of Godzilla -1. That's just a personal preference. It just sounds more of like, I guess, more of a realistic, you know, roar with some fire behind it and all that, you know, depth and growl and bassy. And a lot of people are going to like that. But I liked the metallic and just unearthed sound of that laser beam that came out of the Shin Godzilla. Yeah, I'll play it right here. Sounds pretty cool, right? But I mean, once again, it's not for everybody, but that's totally fine. I enjoyed the action scenes that we got, the crazy mayhem that ensues when Godzilla is just tearing apart Tokyo, for the most part, in the surrounding areas of Tokyo. They named the cities, but I totally forgot what, you know, I butchered names. How am I going to remember cities? And that leads to my first gripe, okay? I understand this is an international film, though it's only a $15 million budget. And yes, I'm saying only in a climate of movies where budgets are $200 million, which, by the way, if you look at these box office numbers from this past weekend, they have already surpassed their budget. So kudos, man. Kudos to Toho for making double their budget and then some. Also, I got a note, I believe it was being said in a couple of articles this weekend that this was a first, or at least a more recent, international film to break box office numbers domestically. But I couldn't help but think, if this had an American budget of, let's just say, even $50 million. Oh my God, Godzilla would look so much more crispy. And that's not to say that he didn't look crispy and cool and everything, but there was definitely some moments where it just felt a little dodgy with the CGI. And that may just be me being very nitpicky, because the group that I was with absolutely loved it. They had no gripes with it. And that's totally fine. To me, I noticed the imperfections in things, but that's not to say that this movie was not good. They did fantastic with what they were given. And it's always awesome to see the homage that goes into a franchise such, I forget what it said at the beginning. I think it was like 70. Baby, do you remember what it said at the beginning? Almost 70 years of Godzilla, as the first one did come out in 1954. My God, this is fantastic. Once again, this is a beloved. How many people can say that there's a franchise running that long. But once again, I love that they paid homage to a lot of the old school Godzilla by, people just kind of running around, a lot of close-up shots of people just frantic and just, buildings exploding behind them. There was a lot of cool slow motion shots. There's a lot when it comes to these monster movies, man. I think they nailed it. And I gotta say, in that third outcome, I think they really did a good job with satisfying a Godzilla or even a non-Godzilla fan, someone that's just there to watch a movie and just possibly be wowed and razzle-dazzled from time to time. Because I will let you know, it's not 100% Godzilla attacks, okay? There's a lot of dialogue and stuff sprinkled in there. There's plots on how to stop Godzilla and all the doubts that a lot of these characters have in between. You gotta be patient when you're watching this one. But I ultimately was satisfied at the outcome of this film. I will just say, okay, this may be a little spoiler. It left off on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Actually, a couple of cliffhangers. So they did a really good job of kind of hinting and sprinkling in that there's going to be more Godzillas coming from Toho. And once again, that's to be expected. The world has Godzilla fever. And before I end this review, guys, I will say that the score was fantastic. Not only our Godzilla theme song, which is the true iconic theme song that they still use in this movie, but all the score laid in between some of the dialogue or the tension building up when you're on a naval ship or something that's going to attack Godzilla. There's a lot of music leading up to all of that, or the city in ruins. All that has a great backdrop of audio, and the theater that I was in was so immersive. It wasn't IMAX. I would say definitely watch this movie in IMAX if you could. I might go back and rewatch it in IMAX actually, but it was great. I got my full experience, I will say that, even though I'm probably going to add this to my collection in 4K. Hopefully we get a 4K release. Sometimes they don't do them like that. Shin Godzilla got a freaking Blu-ray release, but either way, I'm watching it again regardless. All right, so all that being said, guys, I think I'm going to give Godzilla Minus One from 2023 a solid 4 out of 5. All right, Flix Talkers, if you've seen Godzilla Minus One, what do you rate it out of 5? Please let me know down in the comments below. What was your favorite part of the film? Please try to stay spoiler free for those who have not seen it yet. And if you guys did appreciate my review, please let me know by hitting that big thumbs up and consider subscribing today, where I definitely want to do more reviews like this. Let me know if I should be doing more reviews in 2024. I want to get back on it and kind of shimmy it in there somewhere with the reactions and the live streams that I do. All right, Flix Talkers, till next one, I'm gone. Peace.